ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सुखं नित्यं स्वप्रकाशं व्यापकं नामरूपयोः अधिष्ठानं बुद्ध्यबोध्यं बुद्धेर्दृग्यत्तु निर्मलम् अपारं सर्ववेदान्तवेद्यं प्रत्यक्परं महः तदेवाहं न मत्तोऽन्यदिति मे निश्चिता मतिः। We are doing the Maya Vichara, and in that mainly there are two views. One is of Vivarana Sampradaya, other is Vachaspati Mishra, Bhamati Sampradaya. And Bhamati Sampradaya, we saw various features related to Agdanam. One is the Jivashrita Agdanam, Brahma Vishayaka Agdanam. So Agdanam is Jivashritam and Brahma Vishayam. Second is that Agdanam is Nana, Aneka, Anekam Agdanam or Anekani Agdanani. Third is, since Agdanam is Aneka, therefore Ishvara also are Aneka. And the next one is Srishti also is Aneka. Multi-universe principle he is following. Alright. And that Matam has got certain limitations that was discussed in the 258, that if we accept the creation to be manifold and the Ishvara to be manifold, there will be Shruti Smriti Purana Virodha. And Jivashrayatvam in the 259, Jivashrayatvam of Agdanam is not logical because the Jiva and Ishvara are supposed to be Agdana Nimittaka. And the Nimitta, Agdana Nimitta, Agdanam being the Nimitta for Jiva Bhava and Ishvara Bhava, that Agdanam cannot rest on the Jiva and Ishvara. So, Nimitta cannot rest on Naimittika. That is the idea. And so, that idea was given that Agdanam being the Nimitta for Jiva Bhava, Ishvara Bhava, therefore Jiva and Ishvara cannot become the Ashraya. Therefore, by Parishesha Nyaya, only Shuddha Brahma is the Ashraya for this Agdanam. Ashraya should be there, and only this possibility, either we say 4 possibility or 3 possibility. 4 possibility means Jagat also be included. Jagat, Jiva, Ishvara and Shuddha Brahma. Out of this Jagat cannot be, because Jagat is Jadam. Jada Jagat cannot become the Ashraya for Agdanam. In Vyavahara also we see ignorance always belongs to some Chetana. And therefore Jagat cannot be Ashraya, Jiva and Ishvara cannot be Ashraya because they are Ajnana Nimittaka, Pauri. And therefore Parishesha Nyayena, this Shuddha Brahman is the Ashraya. Then what about this Aham Ajnaha? That experience, how will you explain? For that answer was given that Aham Ajnaha, their Ashrayatvam of Aham Shabda Vachya Jiva is superficially found to be there. But that Ashrayatvam is Abhimanitva Rupa Ashrayatvam. Means Jiva can be said to be Ashraya as the Abhimani of Agdanam, not the Adhishthanam of Agdanam. So Jiva is not Adhisthana Rupa Ashraya, but if at all we want to accept Jiva as Ashraya, it is Abhimani Rupa Ashraya. First of all, we say Jiva cannot be Ashraya. But experience is there, How do you explain? Then we said Mukhya Ashraya. Adhisthana Rupa Mukhya Ashraya, it is not there. But Abhimani Rupa Ashraya, it can be there. And that was accepted. Aham Agna iti tu pratitihi jivasya Agnana Abhimanitva Rupam Ashrayatvam Vishayi Karoti. So when we negate Jiva being the Ashraya of Agnanam, what we negate is Adhisthana Rupa Ashraya we negate. And when we accept, we are accepting Abhimanitva Rupa Ashrayatva. So there is no contradiction. Otherwise people say, sometimes you say not, Jiva cannot be Ashraya, and afterwards say Jiva is Ashraya. So there is a difference. Alright. Shuddha Brahma Rupa Adhisthana-shritam Ajnanam Swashrayam Brahma Eva Abrunoti Tadanantaram Jivaha Aham Agna Asmiti Evam Ajnanasya Abhimani Rupa Ashrayo Bhavati. So Ashraya, Abhimani Rupa Ashraya is not Adhisthana Rupa Ashraya. Anena Prakarena Ajnanam Swashraya Vishekam iti Siddham. This we saw. So this was established that Ajnanam is Swashraya Vishekam, means having Brahman as the Ashraya and Brahman as the Vishaya. Now, Eka Ajnana Pakshe Bandha Moksha Vyavastha. And before that, this Tippani. I think we had not seen, not Tippani? No, not seen. Okay. So, Aham Ajnaha, Tippani number 1, page number 152. Aham Agna iti anubhava balat Ajnanasya Ashreha Jiva iti Vachaspati Mishraha Ahuhu. So, Nishchala Dasi is explaining, the author is explaining what is the view of Bhamati and how this view can be validated. The author of this Vichara Sagara doesn't want to dismiss just for the sake of dismissal. He, as far as possible, we validate. We try to understand what must be the reason for Vachaspati Mishra to say. Vachaspati Mishra was not an ordinary person. He has written the commentary on Sankhya Kaumudi, he has written a commentary on Yoga Sastra, Brahma Sutra. And so he is a great scholar. He will not write with such a gross mistake. So when he writes, what must be his thinking behind and how it can be validated, that is explained. Aham Agnaha iti anubhava balat Ajnanasya Ashreha Jiva iti Vachaspati Mishraha Ahuhu. So Vachaspati Mishra says that Jiva is the Ashraya of Ajnanam based on what? Anubhava balat. On account of the strength of the experience. What is the experience? Aham Agnaha, I am ignorant. And Agnaha means Ajnanashraya. Aham means Jiva. So I, Jiva, am Ajnanashraya. That is the experience. Therefore, Jiva is accepted to be Ajnanashraya by Vachaspati Mishra. And why he has taken this type of stand? Ayam pakshaha mumukshu buddhau sukham pravished iti tehi tatha varnitam. He said this view would enter into the intellect of the seeker of freedom, sukham, adverb, easily. So if you are told that you have got ignorance, you have to remove the ignorance. It is very palatable. And you have got experience also. Yes, I have got ignorance. So some Brahman has got ignorance and I have to remove that, something may be difficult for some people to appreciate. Then we have to tell him Abhimanitva Rupashraya Adhisthana, all this. Simple, you experience, you have got Ajnanam. If he asks the Mumukshu, do you have Ajnanam or not? Yes, I have got Ajnanam. So this will be easily accepted by this Mumukshu Buddhi. Therefore, he has presented in this manner. Vastutaha, in reality, Tesham evam ashrayaha. Tesham is Vachaspati Mishranam. Of Vachaspati, plural, Manarthe Bahuvachanam. Tesham evam, following, in the following manner, ashrayaha. Their intention, their thinking is in the following manner. So evam refers to what is going to be told. As follows we say in Sanskrit, in English that is what evam. So what is the ashraya by when Vachaspati Mishra says aham ajnaha? He says aham shabdasya vachyarthaha अंतःकरण विशिष्ट चैतन्य रूपः जीवः. Aham shabdasya vacyartha. The immediate meaning of the word aham is jivaha. And what is jivaha? Antakarana vishishta chaitanya rupaha. Jiva who is in the form of consciousness endowed with or attributed with the antakaranam, the mind. So what is jiva? The mind and consciousness. Consciousness endowed with the mind is called jiva. Simplified version of understanding jiva. And tatra visheshyamsha bhuta sakshi chaitanyameva brahma. And in that jiva, visheshyamsha bhuta sakshi chaitanyam. So antakarana vishishta chaitanya is jiva. That chaitanyam which is sakshi chaitanyam, which is the part of jiva, is visheshyamsha bhutaha. Because we said what? Antakarana vishishta chaitanyam. So Chaitanya becomes substantive and the Antakarana becomes Visheshanam. So therefore he says Visheshya Bhuta Sakshi Chaitanyam. The witness consciousness which is there as a substantive in this definition of Jiva, that Chaitanyam, witness consciousness alone is Brahma. And Tacha Brahma Agdanasya Ashraya. And that Brahman is the Ashraya of Ajnana, which is the view of Vivaranakara. So, the Vichara Sagara Cl, he is holding on to Vivarana Sampradaya, but he derives the Vivarana Sampradaya's view from Vachaspati Mishra. वो हमारी पार्टी वाले ही है. So that's how he is telling. Tacha means Sakshi Chaitanyam Brahma, Sakshi Chaitanya Rupa Brahma is Ajnanasya Ashraya, is the support of Ajnanam. But then somebody may ask that Vachaspati Mishra is telling Antakarana Vishishta Chaitanya Rupa Jiva is Ashraya. Whereas Vivarana Sampradaya is saying what? This only Chaitanyam is Ashraya. So there is a difference. One is calling Vishishta as Ashraya, Vachaspati Mishra, and Vivarana Sampradaya is calling Visheshya alone is Ashraya. Visheshya is Shuddha Chaitanyam, that is Ashraya. So there is a difference. Why do you say both are one? Why do you justify or why do you validate Vachaspati Mishra? Difference is difference. So Vachaspati Mishra, this Nishal Das is telling, this type of expressions are there. What he says, Visheshya Dharmasya Vishishte Vyavaharha iti Nyayena Jivasya Agdanashrayatva Vyapadeshaha Kritaha. Visheshya Dharmasya Vishishte Vyavahara. The attribute of the substantive is expressed as the attribute of the Vishishta, the qualified, the mixture. Actually, the attributes belong to Visheshya, the substantive. But the quality of substantive is attributed to, is presented as the attribute of the Vishishta. How? I'll give the examples, it will be clear. Chain, golden chain is what? Nama Rupa, chain Nama Rupa Vishishta Suvarnam, gold. Chain is what? Vishishta. Nama Rupa Vishishta Suvarnam. Chain is nothing but the gold endowed with the attribute of Nama Rupa. Nama Rupa Vishishta is Nama Rupa Vishishta Suvarnam is chain, is mala, Suvarna mala. Now, we say what? Chain is shining so well. What you are saying? This chain shines so well. When this lady is wearing this, so much shining around her. Or this chain is very expensive. So really speaking, what is expensive? Gold is expensive. Gold is shining. Nama Rupa is not shining. So the shining belongs to what? Visheshya. But what is our Vyavahara, our attribution? That chain is shining. So Visheshya Dharmasya, shining asya. So Sfuranasya. So that Prakashasya Vishishte Vyavaharaha is Vyavahara means attribution. Is attribution to Vishishta. Vishishta means the qualified one. So the attribute of the substantive is attributed to or is presented as the attribute of the Vishishta mixture. So iti nyayena, by this particular nyaya means this particular proverbial expression, jivasya agdanashrayatva vyapadesha kritaha. Vyapadesha means the mention presentation of jiva being the ashraya of agdanam. Jivasya agdanashrayatva vyapadesha kritatva means being. So jivasya agdanashrayatva vyapadesha krita means the mention of jiva as being the ashraya of the locus of Ajnanam. Kritaha is done. Kena kehi kritaha? Vachaspati mishrehi kritaha. Alright. So he said even if you say Jiva is the ashraya of Ajnanam, so finally it will go to Brahman only. So Brahman alone is the ashraya. But what type of Brahman? Antakarana Vishishta Brahma. That is the ashraya. So that's not a problem. So Vachaspati Mishra is not like somebody who is ignorant or non-thinking. He has done with a particular purpose. See, this is the approach of the Sampradaya. Wherever we can do reconciliation, we should not dismiss. See, some people are very fond of just dismiss. Katar leke bete, scissors. Kaat ke. That is not correct. Samadadati. So as far as possible, we reconcile. When reconciliation is not possible, then only say that na grihhyate, not accepted. Our default setting is to reconcile. If we cannot reconcile, we dismiss. Some people start with dismissal. Wrong. One word is not correct, wrong, full. Like some people know so accurate that one dot is here and there is discarded. The Japanese, that they have got so much value for that. I remember one person was doing some proofreading and Swamiji, a dot is not here, discarded. Whereas a dot है करके बस पर्याप्त है हमारे लिए. So for us it is enough. Okay, dot यहाँ नहीं होना चाहिए, ऐसे थोड़ा लिस्ट साइड में होना चाहिए. So our India is everything chalta hai. So of course that is too much, but we have approach of managing. So the India, you see that our approach is, oh, this much is less, no problem, manage. This is not the manage. It is little bit oversimplification or over application, but in general our approach is that if we can reconcile, we will not dismiss. But when we have to dismiss, we will dismiss. If they say that no, this Antakarana itself is the ashraya of Ajnanam, we will dismiss. But they have not told Antakarana. Antakarana Vishishta Chaitanya is ashraya. Therefore, we will try to manage them. Alright. So this is how when we study Vedanta, we learn the approach of Sampradaya. That is the transferred. When you study Vedanta from the Sampradaya teacher, that this is what is to be transferred. Not only the subject matter is transferred, the approach of handling the subject matter is transferred. That is how Sampradaya continues. Alright. Now, next one is Ekagdana Pakshe Bandha Moksha Vyavastha. So, the arrangement of Bandha and Moksha, freedom and, bondage and freedom in the view of one ignorance. In simple words, how Bandha and Moksha can be explained in the view of one ignorance. Because the question was raised as if one ignorance is there, then if one person gets Jnanam, then Ajnanam is removed, then Ajnanam will be removed for everybody. So that then Bandha Moksha Vyavastha we have, that somebody who gets Jnanam, he alone gets freedom. That type of Vyavastha will not remain, which is seen to be there, and that will be contradicted. For that, answer is given in the next paragraph. So, Ekajnana Pakshe bandha moksha vyavastha. The explanation or the arrangement of freedom, bondage and freedom in the view of one ignorance. In view of one ignorance, the view related to one ignorance. So view of one ignorance doesn't have view. So ekagdana pakshe bandhamoksha vyavastha. Ekagdana pakshasya jayastvam. The superiority of the view of one ignorance. And nama bhedena maya swarupam cha. And also the nature of maya with different names. Along with different names. Maya has got different names. So many names are there for Maya. So some are given, some more we also will give. So Maya Swarupam is being concluded in this paragraph, and some names also are given. Nama Bhedena, with different names, the nature of Maya is being discussed in this paragraph. Okay. Tacha Ajnanam Ekameva. And that ignorance is one alone. Jnanena Tadajnanam is there, is a printing mistake. Fortunately, in the Shuddhi Patra they have given. In that also this mistake they have corrected. The earlier mistake they have not corrected. One extra now was there. That is not corrected, but this is corrected. Tadajnanam it is not Tadajnanam. Tad Ajnanam Nivartyate. Jnanena, by knowledge, that ignorance is removed. That ignorance means what? Ekam Ajnanam. Ajnanam, which is said to be one, which is resting on Shuddha Brahma, which is veiling Shuddha Brahma, that Ajnanam is nivartyate, is removed by what? Jnanena. Here Jnanena means Swarupa Jnanena. Parantu, now he is explaining that how Bandha Moksha Vyavastha is there. Parantu, but Yasmin Antakarane Jnanam Udeti Tadrisha Antakaranaavachinna Chaitanya Nishtha Jnanamshaha Tena Jnanena Nivartyate. Simple, हमारे पास यही है. Upadhi bhedena bhedah. So Ajnanam is one, but there are so many antakarana, so many minds are there, and antakarana avachinna chaitanyam also will be many. Since antakarana, the minds are many, therefore the consciousness enclosed by those minds are also many, and every antakarana avachinna chaitanya will have one amsha of Ajnanam. And that amsha of Ajnanam will be destroyed by the Jnanam which is occurring in that antakarana. So a particular antakarana gets Jnanam. Then the Ajnana amsha, the fraction of the ignorance which is resting on the consciousness enclosed by that antakarana will be destroyed. So that is said here, Yasmin antakarane jnanam udeti. In whichever mind knowledge rises, Tadrishantakrana chaitanya nishtha jnanamshaha tena jnanena nivartyate. The ajnanamshaha, the fraction of ignorance which is nishtha, resting on chaitanyam, the consciousness, avachinna, enclosed, conditioned by tadrishantakrana, such mind. Such mind means what? The mind in which the knowledge has risen, knowledge has arisen. That knowledge has arisen, that antakarana avachinna chaitanya nishtha ajnanamshaha tena jnanena nivartyate, is removed by that knowledge. So ajnanamshaha is removed by that knowledge, and which ajnanamsha? Chaitanya enclosed by the antakarana having the knowledge. Tadrisha refers to jnana vishishta, or the Jnanashraya Antakarana. So Jnanashraya Antakarana Chaitanya Nishtha Jnanamshaha Tena Jnanena Nivartyate. Ajnanamshaha, not Jnanamshaha. Ajnanamshaha Nivartyate. Sa eva mukto bhavati. And that person who is Antakarana Chaitanya, Jivaha, becomes free. So whoever got, whose mind got the knowledge, that person becomes free. Yasmin antakarane jnanam na udeti. In whichever mind knowledge has not arisen, tatra ajnanamshaha bandha cha tatha eva vatishthate. And tatra, there means in that antakarana, or that antakranavachinna chaitanye ajnanamshaha, the fraction of ignorance, bandhaha cha, and bondage, tatha eva, as before, avatishthate, continues, remains. So it remains. So there is no anyaya that one person got jnanam and everybody got freedom from the ajnanam and ajnanajanya samsara. That doesn't happen. अनेन प्रकारेण अज्ञानस्य एकत्वपक्षे बंधमोक्ष व्यवहार सिद्धिः. In this manner, in the view of ignorance being one, bandha-moksha vyavahara siddhihi, there is establishment of the transaction of bondage and freedom. So it is possible. Even though ajnanam is one, idea given is what? Even though ajnanam is one, but ajnana amsha are many. And each amsha is resting on the consciousness conditioned by the antakarana, particular antakarana. So how many ajnana amshas are there? As many antakaranas are there. Ajnanam is one. Ajnana amsha are many. Alright. Like pizza is one, but pizza pieces are many. That's all. So everybody get one pizza. अभी तो हम कुछ खा नहीं सकते, खाली नाम लेते हैं उसका बस. अच्छा, व्यवहार सिद्धि. तो इसके बारे में there is a footnote we'll read. Atra ayam abhipraya. In this regard, this is the idea. Abhipraya means idea or intention to be conveyed is the following. So he explains that how eka ajnanam is one, but based on the many amsha of ajnanam, bandha moksha vyavastha is possible. That is explaining. अंशी रूप अंधकारस्य एकत्वे अपि अंशभूताः नानांधकाराः प्रतिगृहं वर्तन्ते. So here we have to know this word amsha and amshi. Amsha means part and amshi means the one who has got the part. Partful, that is called amshi. So one, if you have got one roti and if you make four, then four parts will be called amsha. And the entire roti is called amshi. Your body is called, entire body is called amshi, and hands, legs, etc. are called amsha. So these two words we have to keep in mind, because amshi exact word is not there in English. We have to can say the whole, but it exactly does not convey the idea. Part, whole, we say that. But amshi has got the idea of amshaha asti yasya saha amshi. So that part, whole. Okay. So this amsha amshi word we will use. Amshi rupa andhakarasya ekatve api. Even though andhakara, which is amshi, the whole, the entire one, the entire andhakara is, even though it is one, amshi rupa andhakarasya ekatve api. Even though there is oneness of the andhakara, darkness, which is amshi rupa, which is in the form of the entire andhakara, the amshi, the whole. The whole andhakara is one, but amsha bhutaha danandhakaraha. But the darkness which are amsha bhutaha, amsha bhuta means who are in the form of the fractions, they are nana. Nana means many. So amshi andhakara is one, but amsha andhakaras are many, and they are pratigriham vartante. They remain in every house. So imagine a situation of a dark night. There, darkness is there in every house. Which darkness? Amsha Bhuta darkness. The darkness in the form of part of the entire darkness is there in every house. So Andhakara is pervading the entire village. One Andhakara. But the Amsha of every Amsha of Andhakara, every amsha of the andhakara is obtaining in every house. Alright, then what? Yasmin gehe deepaha asti tatrastha amsha bhutaha andhakaraha vinashyati. Yasmin gehe, in whichever house deepaha asti, lamp is there, tatrastha amsha bhutaha andhakaraha vinashyati. There the darkness which is in the form of a part obtaining in that house vinashyati is destroyed. Na gehantarastha andhakaramshasya nashaha. When the darkness in one house, which is a part of the entire darkness, so part andhakara in one house is destroyed by the lamp, that time na gehantarastha andhakaramshasya nashaha na bhavati. That time the destruction of the darkness, the part of the darkness which is obtaining in the other house, that doesn't happen. So destruction of the darkness, the part of the darkness obtaining in another house does not happen. This is very clear. Otherwise, what happens if you switch on in one house, all house will be free from the darkness. So only one person has to do it. So that is not there. Modern technology is possible, one then all is connected. But if Deepaha, therefore Deepaha is there. So lamp. So it is a Taila Deepaha, not Vidyut Deepaha. So Vidyut Deepa, it is perhaps connected, it is possible. But here we are talking about a situation in one house, lamp is lit up, then the darkness, the part of the darkness in that house is destroyed, not the part of the darkness which is obtaining in another house. Alright, this is the Drishtanta. Evam eva amshibhutam ajnanam ekam eva. Similarly, the entire ajnanam, the whole ajnanam, amshibhuta ajnanam ekam eva is only one. Tasya अंशभूताः नाना अज्ञानानि नानान्तःकरण प्रदेशस्थ साक्षि चैतन्यम् आश्रित्य तिष्ठन्ति. तस्य अंशभूता नाना अज्ञानी, समास is there. Tasya, of that ajnanam, amshi ajnanam, anshabhuta nana ajnanani. Many ignorance which are in the form of the fraction of the whole ajnanam, those many ajnanani, ignorance, they are tishtanti, they are remaining. How they are remaining? Nana antakrana pradeshastha sakshi chaitanyam ashritya. Resorting to the witness consciousness, obtaining in the place, the space, where different antakranas are, nana antakranas are there, various antakrana, various minds are there. So different amsha of ajnanam will be resorted to, will be staying in different sakshi chaitanyam which are conditioned by different antakrana. So nana antakrana pradeshastha sakshi chaitanyam. So consciousness which is witness consciousness which is obtaining in the place where different antakranas are there. So place is little extra dimension is added. Literally speaking, nana antakrana avachinna sakshi chaitanyam ashritya tishtanti. And yasmin antakrana pradeshe vritti gnanam udeti. So in whichever the area of the antakkaranam, vritti gnanam udeti, the thought, knowledge in the form of thought, antakkarana, vritti gnanam here, akhandakara vritti gnanam udeti, rises. Tadrisha antakrana pradeshastha ajnanamshaha vinashyati. The fraction of the ignorance obtaining in that area of the mind, such mind, vinashyati, is destroyed. In simple words, in whichever mind the knowledge is born, in that the consciousness conditioned by that mind, in that consciousness whatever ajnanam was there, that is destroyed. So consciousness resting on the sakshi chaitanya conditioned by that antakarana will be destroyed. Sa eva muktaha bhavati. That jiva who is endowed with this such antakarana as upadhi, muktaha bhavati. Na itare muktaha bhavanti. Itare is a plural. Na itare muktaha bhavanti. Other people do not become free. Tasmat ekasya gnanodaya sati sarveshamapi ajnanatat कार्य नाश द्वारा मुक्त्यापत्ति ही न कार्या. Therefore, the argument of freedom should not be done. What freedom for what? Tasmad ekasya gnanodaya sati. When there is a rise of the knowledge for one person, sarvesham api ajnana tat karya nasha dvara mukti. The freedom through the destruction of ignorance and their product. Freedom through the destruction of ignorance and its product on the part of all people or of all people. That type of apatti. Apatti means argument, accusation, na karya, should not be done. Means you should not give the argument that if one person gets dhanam, all will become free. That type of argument you should not do, because we can explain away this phenomenon of bandha and moksha even if Ajnanam as a whole is one, but there are many parts of Ajnanam, and whichever part of Ajnanam, in whichever antakarana is gone, that person, that jiva who is endowed with that antakarana is free. Others will not become free. Therefore, your argument that if Ajnanam is one, then by one Jnanam by one person will lead to the freedom of all, that type of apattihi. Apattihi means argument, accusation, argument of occurrence. Na karya, should not be done. So this type of objection should not be raised. Objection of freedom of all by the knowledge of one person, na karya, should not be done. Iti itham ekajnanangikara pakshe bandha moksha vyavastha siddhi. In this manner, there is establishment of the establishment of the arrangement of appropriateness, the vyavastha, appropriate arrangement of bandha and moksha in the view of acceptance of one ignorance is done. So siddhi, there is establishment of the arrangement of bondage and freedom even in the view of acceptance of one ignorance. Itham means in this manner. Alright. The simple explanation is that we can explain away the bandha and moksha based on the amsha of Ajnanam. We need not imagine the manyness of Ajnanam when we can explain the manyness of the amsha of Ajnanam. And here the logic is, when we can explain something by postulating the dharma, then we should not postulate dharmi. Dharmi should not be many. When I can train the person available for some other job, I should not hire another person. That person himself can do. So that is the principle. So otherwise, for everything, for sweeping one person, for mopping another person, for bringing the bucket, for mopping another person, we don't do that. One person alone does it. So similarly, here our Vedanta Siddhanta is there. When you can manage with the manyness of dharma, by postulating the manyness of dharma, you should not postulate manyness of dharmi, the entity. Entity is heavy. Dharma is just a fraction of it. So you can imagine many dharma, amsha, but not amshi. That is the principle. Otherwise, you said you are imagining amsha. In our view, we don't have to imagine amsha. So you are also imagining, we are also imagining. What is the problem? For that I am giving the answer. Because Vachaspati Mata, they don't have to imagine amsha. Full Ajnanam is available, many. Whereas we are telling what? That Ajnanam is one, but amsha of Ajnanam are many. Ultimately, there is not much difference. But we are saying our argument is stronger because in Vachaspati Mishra Paksha, we have to imagine many dharmi, whereas we are imagining many amsha. So, imagining more amsha is a laghava. Laghava means minimization. And in science, in science also they accept that whichever theory postulates minimum thing, that is superior. Therefore, it is superior. All right. So we said that Jayaswam is better. But afterwards, this Vichara Sagara Cl, he thinks that we need not be so much fighting about it. So we show superiority, but we say that if Vachaspati Mishra is very appealing to you, because Swamiji, Amsha, Amshi, all this I am confused. In otherwise, everybody has got one Ajnanam. I am happy with that. Okay. So that whether you call it a amsha of Ajnanam or full Ajnanam, you have to remove it. Remove by what? Brahmajnanam. In that there is no difference. So whatever way, if you like Vachaspati Mishra very well, you follow Vachaspati Mishra. But what? Don't just get stuck with fighting with the, okay, now I will go to Vachaspati Mishra party and I will dismiss Vivaranam Sampradaya. You don't do that. Vachaspati Mishra Mate also, Ajnanam is to be removed by Brahmajnanam, which is to be attained by Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam, which is to be made effective by attaining necessary qualification. All this you follow. Don't get stuck with these minor differences or details. Know the difference, but don't get stuck with that. All right. So he says, now this Nishal Das is saying very nicely. यदि वाचस्पति मिश्र मतानुसारेण केषाञ्चित् नानाज्ञानपक्षः मनसि प्रविशति तदा सः अपि पक्षः अद्वैतज्ञानोपायः एव न तत् मतखण्डने आग्रहः कार्यः यया प्रक्रिया जिज्ञासोः अद्वैतबोधः भवति तस्यां प्रक्रियायां तस्य बुद्धिः स्थिरीकर्तव्या. It's a very, very beautiful golden statement. Because this is not understood, then people get confused and write books on that, and so many discussion unnecessary, and dismissing others. So, to the extent required for clarity, you do it, but your agra should not be in dismissing others. He said, this looks better for me. It's okay. So what he says, yadi, if Vachaspati Mishra Matanusarena, in keeping with the view of Vachaspati Mishra, Keshanchit, for some people, Nana Jnana Paksha Manasi Pravishati. For some people, the view of many ignorance, Manasi Pravishati, enters into the mind. Tada, enters into the mind means it appeals to the mind. हाँ स्वामी जी ये ठीक लगता है. Everybody has got one ignorance. So that I work very hard and somebody should not get result. So he is concerned about it. Swamiji, every time in my life it has happened. I do work and somebody gets benefit. So okay, I want to have Ajnanam, my own Ajnanam, I will remove. So Manasi Pravishati, whatever reason it enters into your mind, Tada, then Saha api Pakshaha. That view also means Nana Ajnana Pakshaha. The view of many ignorance, Advaita Jnanopayaha eva, is also the method for arriving at the knowledge of non-dual Brahman. See, finally you have to arrive at I am non-dual Brahman. And this knowledge will remove the Ajnanam and Ajnana Karyam, and therefore I will be free from samsara. That is the focus. So sometimes we focus so much on the plate, that this plate and that plate and all this, and the food is spoiled. Or food is forgotten. What is the item to be served forgotten? So it should not happen. All these things are only prakriya. It is going to be said. Whichever prakriya you like, you go for that. Only thing that prakriya should not be in contradiction with the main siddhanta. Our main siddhanta are three. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmeva Naparaha. These three are our main siddhanta. And Shruti is a pramanam for them. One more thing is, Shruti is a pramanam for Atmajnanam. Shruti is the main pramanam for Atmajnanam. All these are main principles, they should not be contradicted. You cannot say, no, by Shaktipat se bhi jnana ho jata hai. That we will not accept. So main siddhanta we don't compromise with, but other things in the minor variation we don't get stuck. Okay, so he said, na tanmate tanmata khandane agraha karyaha. In dismissing that view, tanmata referring to what? This nanajnana pakshaha or vachaspati mata. Khandane, in dismissal of that view of ignorance being manifold, which is the view of which Vachaspati Mishra, Khandane agraha na karyaha means obsession should not be entertained, insistence should not be done. That you dismiss this. So in your mind, this Vachaspati Mishra Mata of Ajnanam becoming many is entered, first dismiss it. Without dismissing, you will never get moksha. That type of approach should not be there. We accept Vivarana Sampradaya, but if somebody accepts this Vachaspati Mishra, Agdana Nanatva Paksha, we should not be too obsessive about it. That no, first you get rid of this Vachaspati Mishra, Agdana Nanatva Paksha, then only you will understand Advaita Gdanam. Advaita Gdanam will attain. That is not our approach. So teacher should not say that Agdana Nanatva Paksha, don't have that view, always have Agdana Ekatvam. Amsha are only many. We don't have unnecessary obsession. So our problem is that we have obsession for the things which do not deserve obsession. And where we need to be very, very firm, there we say, हाँ ब्रह्म जगत सत्य भी है, मिथ्या भी है, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? If world is real or unreal, how does it matter? So there you should be very particular. That Swamiji, after all, see, if you say world is satyam, still Vyavahara is Vyavahara. Whatever transaction Swamiji you are doing, you are eating roti only. You are not eating stone. Both are mithya. Still you are eating roti only. So Vyavahara, what is the difference? If you call it mithya or you call it satyam, Swamiji, wow, how is the difference? So why should we be so particular about this? Let world be satyam also. So there we will not accept. There we will put our foot down. But where agra should not be there, we should not do. So in life, this viveka is very important. Where we should be very firm and where we can be flexible. That clarity is not there, then where we need to be flexible, we become very stubborn, and where we have to be firm, we become loose. So that is not there. So tanmat khandane agraha na karyaha. Then further he says, yaya prakriyeya jignasoho advaita bodha bhavati tasyam prakriyayam tasya buddhihi sthiri kartavya. In a way, it is a suggestion for the teacher also. Yaya prakriya, by whichever method, model, jignasoho, for the desirous of knowledge, for the person desirous of knowledge, advaita bodha bhavati, the knowledge of non-duality takes place. Tasyam prakriyayam, in that model, in that method, tasya buddhihi, tasya jignasoho buddhihi, the mind of the jignasu, sthiri kartavya, should be steadied. So we should lead the person to that particular, we should make the person think in that direction. Okay, you think that Agdanam is there in you, so you please remove it. Nobody else is going to remove. You are clear about it. Guru cannot remove your ignorance. Why? Because ignorance is in you. It is your cross. You have to carry your cross. So you have to remove. So you make the person steady in that view. Don't destabilize him. Because that also will lead to Advaita Gnana Prapti. That also will inspire the person to do Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam, leading to Advaita Gnana Prapti. Therefore, tasyam prakriyayam, in that model, tasya buddhihi sthiri kartavya. His mind should be steadied. His mind should be established. Alright. And for that, there is a in that the first view itself, the kincha, one part I forgot to read. So kincha is giving the answer to earlier argument that Ishwaras are many and Srishti are many. For that he says, Jiva Gnana Kalpitaha Ishwaraha Anantaha Jiva Bedena Srishtihi Apinana iti Shruti Smriti Purana Di Viruddha Pakshaha Na Yuktaha. So this idea is already come. The view which is Shruti Smriti Purana Viruddha, which is contradictory to the Shruti Smriti and Purana. What type of view? Jiva Agdana Kalpita Ishvara Anantaha. Ishvara is innumerable or infinite, innumerable, countless. The Ishvara which is projected by the Agdanam of every Jiva is Anantaha, is innumerable, countless. And Jiva Bedena Srishtiha Pinana, this create the universe also are many depending upon this division of jivas. In this type of view, which is Shruti Smriti Puranadi Viruddha, is na yuktaha, is not proper. Ataha. So he is a Hetu Garbha Visheshana. Shruti Smriti Puranadi Viruddha Pakshaha is a Hetu Garbha. For Hetu for what? Na yuktaha. Na yuktaha because it is Viruddha. Ataha Ekagdana Pakshaha Jayan. Therefore the view of one ignorance is Jayan, is superior. Alright, now the second footnote. Yaya prakriya jignasoho advaita bodha bhavati. That is very beautifully explained. Yaya bhavet pumsam vyutpattih pratyagatmani sasaiva prakriye hasyat sadvi sacha navasthita. This shloka is possible, one should by heart. It is a very, very important shloka, which is a iti neshkarmya siddhikaraha ahu. This is the shloka in Brihadaranyaka Vartika 14402. The first chapter, fourth Brahmana, the Vartikas are there, the 402. So that is the number, Vartika. Vartika is what? Is a commentary in shloka form on Brihadaranyaka Bhashyam. It's called Brihad Vartika, written by Sureshwaracharya. The very, very elaborate, about 12,000 verses are there. 12,000 verses, commentary on the Bhashyam on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It's called Brihad Vartika. And the Sambandha Vartika itself has got 1200 shlokas. We were studying, I was studying with Swamiji Vishadananji. So we could study some 300-400. I was very, very elaborate analysis. Very elaborate analysis. Okay. So in that, this very popular shloka, what is that? Yaya bhavet pumsam vyutpattihi pratyagatmani. Yaya refers to prakriya. Yaya prakriya. By whichever method or model, pumsam for people, for jignasu, vyutpattihi. Here vyutpatti means understanding. Pratyagatmani, with regard to the inner self. By whichever method or model, there is understanding for people with regard to the Pratyagatma, the inner self being Brahman. So Brahma Swarupa Pratyagatmani means by whichever method a person gets the understanding that I, inner self, real self, am Brahma. By whichever method this understanding happens. Sa seva prakriya iha syat sadhvi. That prakriya alone, iha, here Anandagiriji, here Anandagiriji has written a commentary on this 12,000 shlokas. So there he said, iha means Shrauta Marge, in the pursuit of the Shruti, in the pursuit of understanding Shrutis, vision, Shrauta Marge, that prakriya alone, sadhvi. Sadhvi means appropriate. There Anandagiri said phalavatvam. So phalavati. That prakriya is effective. In Hindi they say chalti ka naam gadi. So whatever car works for you, that is the car. You have got a very big car, imported car, but it doesn't work. What is the use of that car? The car which works for you. Chalti ka naam gadi. I really like this. तो चलती है उसका नाम गाड़ी. सो साध्वी, साध्वी मीन्स फलवती. So that prakriya is, we will call it fruitful, effective. What works for you? Some people allopathy works, some people naturopathy works, some people Tirupati only works. So whichever pati works, sa sadhvi. Sacha anavasthita. Anavasthita means it is not fixed. So here the commentators, one commentator says, Anishchitaika prakara. Means it cannot be of one type only. Means it is not rigid, flexible. Means prakriya should be this alone, that our agraha is not there. So whichever prakriya is helping you to understand, that prakriya you follow. Some people say, Swamiji, you are teaching so many prakriyas, we are confused. So Swami Paramarthananji, while teaching Vichara Sagara, he says, he is addressing his students. He says, if study of Vichara Sagara is creating confusion, please stop attending classes. I don't want to give you confusion. I was reading that, I was very much amused. Swamiji has to say this. He said, if he is creating confusion, then stop attending classes. Vichar Sagara is like this, is Vichar Sagara only. You are not able to do swimming in this pool also, water pool, swimming pool. Then Sagara you will be drowned. So if you are feeling drowned, then better don't attend. So I am also telling, so whatever great people say, we also repeat. So this is how it is. But you are enjoying, wow, what a way, what a nice way of looking at the same thing in different ways you enjoy. Then welcome. But if you are getting confused, Swamiji, earlier I was everything so clear. But after attending Vichar Sagara class, my mind is so confused. Then better don't get further confused. If you are feeling it is a very good and giving me more clarity, giving me more details, it is good. Iti Naishkarmya Siddhikaraha Ahuhu. This is a very important shloka. We are not so particular about Prakriya. And no Prakriya will be perfect. Means you cannot say in this Prakriya there is no limitation at all. Every Prakriya has got some limitation. Even this Ajnana Ekatva Paksha, we have got the problem. We have to manage it. We have to imagine now Ajnana has got many Amsha and all this. So you have to postulate. Which Vachaspati Mata doesn't have to postulate. Amsha of Ajnanam. Ajnanam itself is very confusing. What Ajnanam exactly is, because we say Ajnanam doesn't mean absence of knowledge. Even though ignorance in English has got that meaning, absence of knowledge. So Ajnanam is not the absence of knowledge, it's a positive. Something, how positive it can be. That is how it is. So already Swamiji, Ajnanam is a mystery. Now we are the Ajnana Amsha. Now I have to imagine how Ajnanam will have Amsha. So this Vivarana Mata may be confusing for some people. Some people say, yeah, why not? Andhakara can have Amsha, why not this? So to me, there is no problem. So for you, this Vivarana Mata is good. Swamiji, I like Vachaspati Vinshara, very simple. Everybody has got one Ektanandra. Sabko de diya ek Ajnanam. You handle it. That's all. I like it. You go for that. Yes. So that is how Sacha Anavasthita. Anishchitaika prakara. Anishchitaika prakara means it is not having one definite model, definite detail. Prakriya need not be one-fold, it can be many-fold. Yes. And sometimes some details are given, some details are not given. So whatever details are necessary in the given context, that is explained. So every time all the details may not be given. So it depends upon the need. It's a need-based approach. Which is Swamiji's Guru, Swami Tarananji. When he will explain, like Panchadashi was teaching, the Swami Visharananji was telling, he said when something has got 6 types, he will not mention all 6 types. He will mention only 3 types. Because in these 3 types only the present subject matter is covered. Well, yeah, itna kafi hai, bas. So he was so focused, not going anywhere else. Because otherwise, 6 types, so then why not 7 and all this, your mind will go. Here, it is only to be just referred because it's one of the types. And this particular thing is one of the types. Okay, go ahead. So that is the focused approach of Sampradaya. So especially some Acharya, they give only which is required. Of course, some audience is very, what is called, well advanced, have well studied, then they can give more details and he can handle. Sometimes details can give clarity, sometimes details can give confusion. It depends upon the person. If you have studied well and you have got overall vision, conviction, clarity, then details can give you more clarity or can give you this more information about the same subject matter. But if you are not, then it is better One view is enough. So earlier I used to give for one sentence 2-3 interpretation. So Padma told me, Swamiji, when you give 2-3 explanations, we don't get any one of them. So then I started reducing. I said, this is right. Because Swami, 2 interpretation you give, then both of them none of them they remain. Neither of the 2 remains. If you give one, it's settled. So therefore, it is better to give one in certain stage. Afterwards, you handle 6-7 are there. So no problem. You can handle. Alright. So here, Prakriya is the means. Remember, Prakriya model is the means. Destination is the vision of Advaita. So we should not be so particular about this means. It's allowable means, yeah. Now, the means which is not allowed, we cannot permit. But in allowable means that by this Shruti alone, the Brahma Jnana will happen, or that Shruti. Some people say, Swamiji, I like Aham Brahmasmi. Tattvamasi is you are that. Some instruction is there. I don't like instruction. Aham Brahmasmi. I like Aham Brahmasmi. Some people say, no, Tattvamasi is Upadesha. Upadesha is very important. Experience comes later. People divide these sentences also. Aham Brahmasmi, Anubhava Vakya, etc. So based on that, some people like this, some people like it. Doesn't matter. Whichever sentence give you this Advaita Jnanam, that is the Mahavakya Upadesha for you. Similarly, Prakriya also is the means. We should not get so much stuck with that. We can have necessary clarity, but knowing fully well that every Prakriya has got some plus points, some minus points, and all of them are having limitation but utility. Alright. Now, he comes back to the topic of this Maya. He is concluding, in fact, in this paragraph, and he gives different names for Maya. Like Bhagavan Paramatma has got many names, Maya also has got some names. That topic we'll see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.